Is the bread you're eating every morning even close to traditional bread anymore? Some supermarket loaves contain more than 15 to 20 ingredients, including added sugar, emulsifiers, vegetable oils, and preservatives that many shoppers never notice. Traditional bread requires just 4 ingredients: flour, water, salt, and yeast. So why do so many popular supermarket loaves contain far more? In 8th place, Lawson's Traditional from Aldi sets the lower bound for ingredient lists among major supermarket loaves. The panel lists 14 ingredients, starting with wheat flour, water, and yeast, which is closer to traditional recipes than most packaged breads. Instead of table sugar, maltose appears as the sweetener. That choice aids yeast activity and browning, while keeping the label distinct from loaves using multiple sugars. For softness and machinability, the only emulsifier present is E471, mono and diglycerides of fatty acids. Preservative 282 is included to extend shelf life, a standard feature in industrial bread. Added wheat gluten is also present, strengthening the dough for high-speed factory production. At roughly $3.20 per loaf, Lawson's Traditional offers a shorter, simpler ingredient list than others in the set, but still relies on additives for shelf stability and texture.
Number 7, Abbott's Rustic White from Coles presents a striking contrast between its branding and its ingredient list. The word rustic appears boldly on the front, yet the first ingredient is refined wheat flour, not wholemeal or stone ground. The panel lists 15 ingredients in total, well above what most would expect from a traditional loaf. After wheat flour and water, sugar takes the 3rd spot, followed by canola oil and a series of additives. 2 emulsifiers appear, soy lecithin and E471, both included to keep the crumbs soft and consistent during mass production. Preservative 282 is present to extend shelf life, a detail that often goes unnoticed by shoppers. Abbott's also includes added soy flour and extra wheat gluten, which help bulk up the dough and improve its machinability on factory lines. At around $3.80 per loaf, this bread raises questions about how far supermarket Rustic has drifted from simple 4-ingredient bread.
Number 6, Tip Top. The one from Woolworths brings a new layer of ingredient complexity to the table. The packaging highlights whole grain in bold print, yet the ingredient panel tells a different story. Refined wheat flour appears first, followed by water, with whole grain further down the list. This loaf contains 16 ingredients in total, including added sugar and wheat gluten, which are used to boost dough strength and softness in factory baking. 2 emulsifiers, E471 and E472E, are listed, with E472E, Daytem, standing out as a dough conditioner that improves volume and texture during rapid industrial processing. Preservative 282 is also present, extending shelf life beyond what is possible with traditional recipes. At around $4 a loaf, Tip Top, the one illustrates how national brands rely on multiple additives and make marketing claims that may not match the actual ingredient order. Details like the inclusion of E472E mark a shift toward more complex formulations in mainstream supermarket bread. Number 5, Coles Bakery White brings the private label price point into direct comparison with national brands. The ingredient list stretches to 16 items, beginning with wheat flour, water, and sugar, mirroring the formulation of more expensive loaves. Emulsifiers appear in the form of E471, mono and diglycerides, and soy lecithin. These are included to stabilize the dough and maintain softness during supermarket shelf life. Preservative 282 is present, extending the loaf's lifespan beyond what is possible in traditional baking. Added wheat gluten is used to strengthen the dough for high-speed processing, a detail that often goes unnoticed in budget options. At a shelf price of around $3.20, Coles Bakery White matches the additives profile of loaves costing significantly more, raising questions about the relationship between price and ingredient complexity. For families seeking a simple, 4-ingredient bread, this store brand's panel is worth checking. Ingredient count and additive suite rival those of well-known national brands. Number 4, Sunbeam White, shows a further step up in processing intensity. with a 17-ingredient panel that highlights the trend toward additive complexity. Wheat flour, water and sugar open the list, but what stands out is the presence of both E471 and E472E, two different emulsifiers that stabilize dough and help maintain a soft crumb during a long shelf life. The label also lists Preservative 281, a calcium propionate variant closely related to 282, included to inhibit mold growth and keep the loaf fresh for up to a week or more. Soy flour appears as an extender, allowing bakers to boost volume and texture economically. Few shoppers may realize that one loaf can contain a suite of emulsifiers, each with a distinct role in industrial mixing and rapid fermentation. Priced around $3.50, Sunbeam White illustrates how mainstream supermarket bread now relies on a multi-additive approach, with ingredient lists growing longer as processing demands increase. Number 3. Helga's White Sandwich pushes ingredient complexity near the top of the supermarket shelf. The panel lists 18 ingredients, one of the longest among major brands, with wheat flour, water and sugar occupying the first 3 spots. What stands out here is not just the presence of added sugar, but the use of 2 different forms, sugar and glucose syrup. This dual approach feeds yeast for faster rising and helps create a soft, uniform crumb, but it also means sweeteners appear twice before other key ingredients. Canola oil is included for softness and to extend shelf life, a standard move in industrial baking. Emulsifiers show up as E471, mono and diglycerides, and soy lecithin, stabilizing the dough for high-speed mixing and consistent slicing. Preservative 282, calcium propionate, guards against mold, while added wheat gluten and soy flour bulk up the dough for factory production. At around $4.50 per loaf, Helga's White Sandwich is marketed as a heritage-style bread, yet its ingredient list reveals a modern industrial formula, with a particular emphasis on sugar variety and oil content that few shoppers may expect. Number 2, Woolworths Bakery White brings the concept of bakery fresh into sharp focus by pairing in-store branding with a lengthy, industrial-style ingredient list. Despite its placement in the supermarket's bakery section and the promise of fresh baking, this loaf contains 19 separate ingredients, nearly 5 times the count of traditional bread. The first 3 on the panel are refined wheat flour, water and sugar, setting the tone for a formulation that leans heavily on processing aids. A suite of emulsifiers appears, including E471 and soy lecithin, both designed to keep the crumbs soft and the slices uniform during mass production. Preservative 282, calcium propionate, is listed to extend shelf life well beyond what is possible in a home-baked loaf. Added wheat gluten is included prominently, boosting dough strength for high-speed mixing and baking. At a price of roughly $3, this loaf undercuts many national brands, yet offers one of the highest ingredient counts in the supermarket. The contrast between bakery-style marketing and the reality of a chemistry-like ingredient panel raises questions about what shoppers are actually getting when they reach for in-store bread labelled as fresh. And finally, in first place, Burgen Soy Linseed stands out with the longest and most complex ingredient list among major supermarket breads. The panel lists 20 separate components, beginning with wholemeal flour, water, and soy grits. Despite its premium placement and strong added protein branding, the ingredient list reads more like a processed food than a traditional loaf. Added sugar and canola oil appear early, while the bread's texture and shelf life are managed by an unusually wide range of emulsifiers: E471, E472E, and E481. E481, sodium stearoyl lactylate, is a dough conditioner designed to improve loaf volume and softness during rapid industrial mixing. This is the only bread in the set featuring all 3 emulsifiers together, a detail that signals intensive processing. Preservative 282 is present to extend freshness, while added wheat gluten and soy flour further boost protein and machinability, features that support factory-scale baking rather than artisanal technique. At a shelf price of around $5.20, Burgen Soy Linseed asks a premium but delivers the most ingredient-heavy formulation on the market. The contrast between its health-focused marketing and the sheer number of additives is worth noticing before buying. For shoppers aiming to avoid the longest ingredient panels and the broadest suite of processing aids, This loaf sets the upper limit in the supermarket aisle.
Across all 8 entries, one pattern stands out. Mainstream supermarket bread now relies on long ingredient lists and industrial processing, prioritizing shelf life and efficiency over simplicity. You don't necessarily need artisan bakery bread. Understanding what is in your loaf gives you more control over what you are feeding your household. If this helped, check your bread now and subscribe for more Australian supermarket breakdowns.